And welcome back. We'll continue our conversation about the WFISD 2021 bond. We're joined now by WFISD Superintendent Mike Kuhrt. Thank you so much for joining us. You're going to answer some questions that some viewers have today.
Correct. Yes, glad to be here.
All right. So let's go back to last November. Voters already turned down a bond for athletic and recreational facilities. So take us through the process of putting this measure back on the bond after voters already said no.
Okay. Well, I think there were several reasons, Zach, why that probably happened. One, it was the last item on a very long ballot. Two, that there were a lot of items on that ballot where it could be confusing. And three, that the most important thing is the legislature several years ago changed it. And they said you cannot have anything not connected to the schoolhouse on the same proposition. And so therefore it had to be a separate proposition. But we all know that whenever you build a high school in the state of Texas, a comprehensive high school in the state of Texas, you have practice fields that go with them, not recreational facilities. We don't call them recreational facilities. When I think of recreational facilities, I think about a YMCA or I think about a park. And so I think whenever people saw recreational facilities, they were confused. So I think that was our thought process. And I don't think maybe we got the word out well enough for people to understand where we were coming from.
Of course. So, and in that same vein, we hear a lot of questions about why the school district maybe couldn't raise funds privately for these recreational and sports facilities. Why do you think that maybe wouldn't have worked?
Well, I think that's putting it a lot to chance. The longer we go in this process, the more expensive they become. Every year there's 2 to 3, 5, 6% inflation. It just depends. And so asking people privately to raise those funds is a big ask, I think, for this community. And raising funds this year when there's so many other needs in our community, I just don't think would be wise for us to do. These are part of our common core curriculum that we teach. In other words, we teach a core curriculum in schools that is required. In other words, we're required to have PE, we're required to offer fine arts and things like that, and these fields supplement those. In other words, band has somewhere to practice if they have a football field, a striped football field. PE has somewhere to go when they go outside and they're not in the gym. So these are required facilities as part of a comprehensive high school. So asking individual donors in our community, I think would probably be the wrong way to go.
So now looking at the tax impact, it's a concern for a lot of voters out there. What is your pitch to those who say maybe that their taxes are too high already?
I hear that, and I understand that. We know that in November, that was a really big ask for $276 million worth of a bond package, and then $13 million for these, in Proposition B, for these athletic facilities around our schools, and we get that. This is a 1.5 cent tax increase. And with the way things are and the values that we have right now, chances are when everything's said and done, it won't be 1.5 cents. But we have to advertise it that way. That's required ballot language. But with the values that we have right now and the values we saw from last year, it's probably not going to be that high. But right now, that's where we have to go with.
Of course. And so if this doesn't pass, what's kind of the solution for the district?
Well, that's really tough because students right now have athletics beginning of the day, students have athletics during the day, and PE during the day, and then they have athletics after school. And so it would totally change schedules for students, that we wouldn't have that opportunity. We would then be busing students from our new high schools to our other facilities in the district. Old High would be really our only facility that would be empty. Ryder would be a middle school with middle school athletics going on and competitions and everything in their gyms and outside on their facilities, their football fields, and other facilities. And then same thing with Hershey. And so it would be really difficult to come up with ways and schedules to transport kids during the day, missed instructional time, and then getting students back to their home campus to finish out their day in a lot of cases.
So, well, if you're looking towards May 1st and everything goes your way, what's kind of the next step in the planning process for these two high schools?
Well, we're in design development. We've just about wrapped that up on the two high schools, and so we've got the details worked out. Right now, the architects are just going to go back to their offices and actually put all the specs in, so that way we can bid this out. They will be bid out somewhere around October. and then we'll have a guaranteed maximum price for the entire projects. In other words, Prop A and Prop B, should Prop B pass, and then we would start construction in November. So this does put us a little bit behind on design, but our architect team is pretty awesome, and they'll catch up for us, and so it should not affect our timeline at all.
All right. Well, thank you to Superintendent Mike Kuhrt for joining us today and answering all of our questions for us. Stay with us. We'll be right back.